All right. And hi, everyone. I just want to say good morning and thank you for joining us today for this awesome webinar. My name is Ashley Africa. I am the Community Outreach and Client Engagement Specialist at the ARC of Northern Virginia on the Tech for Independent Living team. And we are so thankful that Andrew Shaw, Travel Training and Mobility Manager from the Independence Center of Northern Virginia, is here to join us today to talk to you guys about travel training and the program that they offer. So when you're ready, Andrew, you can take it away.
All right, so
And I
just
just
give
want
me
to
a
let everyone
moment.
know if you want to
Oh,
type in the chat at any time, I have it open.
okay. I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to confirm. I have just been told host disabled participant screen sharing. Um, Yay. Sorry, it's just I'm hitting the button and it is not letting me share my presentation screen.
All right, let's try again.
All right, fingers crossed. There we go. Okay, it's giving me choices now. Yay for Zoom, everybody, right? All right, so let me hit from beginning here. So just can I get thumbs up in chat if people see a picture of a young lady with a scooter getting on a bus? Is everybody seeing that?
Mhm.
Okay, great. So my name is Andrew Shaw, and I am the Travel Training and Mobility Manager at the Independence Center. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about our free travel training program, as well as go over a little bit of what the Independence Center does. So the Independence Center, we've been around for 42 years as of April 1st. We are what's known as the Center of Independent Living. We are run by and for people with disabilities to serve others with disabilities. I'm okay saying that I have multiple disabilities myself, as do about 80% of our staff and board currently at the Independence Center. So we're run by and for people with disabilities. And our overall mission is to help people with disabilities be as independent as possible. So the Independence Center has about five core services. I'm going to kind of go over some of those very, very briefly. So we do your basic information and referral. So if you have a question related to disability, we will do our best to give you an answer and point you in the right direction. We do have a peer counseling program. We have a couple of different, but if somebody with a disability is just looking to get some counseling and talk to somebody else who's a peer, we can make that kind of thing happen. We do systems and individual advocacy. So we help people resolve disability related disputes as best we can, or give people resources to help solve those disputes. We also do an annual trip to Richmond, as well as an annual trip to DC to talk to legislators about issues that are important to the disability community and advocate directly to legislators. We have a variety of independent living skills trainings. Among those is travel training, which we're about to talk a lot about, but we do offer other independent living skills trainings in a variety of manners. We offer transition services, which is kind of a two-pronged service. One is helping people who want to get out of nursing homes relocate into the community. And we also help people who are transitioning out of high school, where once you age out of the high school system, people's IEPs suddenly evaporate, it seems, overnight. And at least all of the services involved with those IEPs, and we make sure that people are ready for that, ready for college or work or whatever they want to do post high school education when those IEPs stop being in effect. And we also are looking to rebuild some social groups. So if you're interested in volunteering with that or just having more information, you can certainly reach out to us. And finally, I'm here to talk to you all about travel training. So just to be really brief, travel training is an individualized and multi-day comprehensive service where we work with an individual to come up with a travel plan and learn how to travel safely and independently using the public transportation system. So the buses in the area and the metro system. Primarily the funding, this is a free service, and the primary funding for the service comes from the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority. Again, it is a free service to individuals who live within the WMATA jurisdiction coverage area. So that's Northern Virginia, DC, and we also offer this in Prince George's and Montgomery County. So some of the reasons to get travel training, there isn't, I'll start by saying there isn't a wrong reason to do travel training. Some people have told me they just want to be able to be more social and go to things that they enjoy doing and be out and about in the community, and that's great, and we're happy to support you with that. Some people, they have a job and they need to be able to learn to get there. I do want to preface that we're not necessarily a transportation service. We do travel training, but our role is not to provide the transportation for you to get there. So sometimes that conversation does come up, but we do train people to be as independent as possible. And sometimes that's a mix of different systems and services to learn to get where you're going independently. It might consist of the bus and metro. I've taught a few people how to independently ride a bicycle to the metro to get to where they're going, or provided or referred people to a service that does the fundamentals even of how to ride a bike. There's a service I know in Alexandria that teaches adults how to ride a bike. I've worked with people also who maybe have just had to learn like how to cross the street and walk to where they're going as well.
Really quick,
So
Andrew. I don't,
sure.
the chat isn't working for some reason, and I apologize, everybody, but if you do have a
Okay.
question or comment or anything, if you want to put it in the Q&A, I can see it there as well. Sorry.
Okay. So, and I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping on my end. There is going to be an opportunity at the end for questions and comments. So if you have questions, you can type them in the Q&A, but also there will be an opportunity for people to raise their hand via Zoom or however we decide to do it. So there will be an opportunity for questions. So as I stated earlier, anybody within Metro's coverage area with a disability can sign up for travel training. As a center of independent living, we generally take people at their word when they say they have a disability. So to sign up for travel training, we're not necessarily going to have to see documentation. I will say that for some of the Metro programs we'll talk about in a moment, there is a doctor's note of some sort needed to apply for these programs, which I'll get into in a moment. But to sign up for travel training, if you tell me that you have a disability, we take you at your word. So if you are under 18 or under a guardianship agreement with your family or someone else, we do have to have them sign off on the travel training, however, just because that's them's the rules. And again, we provide this service to people living within Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Montgomery and Prince George's County, Maryland. So this is just kind of the metro system map. I don't know if everybody's familiar with it, but this just kind of shows in general where we go. But this also includes the bus system. So we'll go into like, parts of Montgomery County, or, I've gone pretty deep into Loudoun sometimes for travel training. I know that we can get a bus out in Loudoun as far as Purcellville, for example, and you can get a bus that will eventually get you to the metro. It's a journey, but you can do it. So I wanted to talk very briefly about what Metro Access is. Some of you may be familiar with this, but this is a program that is a door-to-door service for people whose disabilities sometimes prevents them from using the fixed route bus and metro. It's similar to a taxi, but there are some important differences. Metro Access's service area and times largely reflect the active bus and metro service areas and availability. So for example, and this is my understanding, if a bus doesn't run in an area after 9 p.m., the Metro Access also may not run in that area after 9. All rides must be made at least a day in advance. It's about 8 to 9 page application process to apply for Metro Access. If you get Metro Access and you use the door-to-door service, you may experience a shared ride, meaning you might be on your trip with other people. And some people don't understand that when they sign up. And I just like to preface that you may be on a shared vehicle with others. I know Metro knows that people prefer. I've talked to people at Metro. They know people prefer individual rides. Sometimes if you may get that, but it's never a guarantee. It might be a shared ride experience. Metro Access does come with a ID card, and travel training we can help advocate for you to get an ID card that helps you ride the bus and metro at a reduced rate, if not free. There's also WMATA reduced fare. And this is a card that's also for people with disabilities who maybe your disability doesn't prevent you from riding the bus or metro, but you have a qualifying disability. This compared to Metro Access is for people such as myself who I mentioned earlier, I have multiple disabilities, but my disabilities don't prevent me from riding the bus or metro in any circumstances. So, but because I have a disability, I was eligible to apply for this reduced fare card. So the application process for reduced fare compared to Metro Access, the reduced fare applications, it's a 4-page application and there's really only 1 page that you have to put any information on. And the doctor just has to put a diagnosis code. They do not have to describe your disability in any detail, unlike Metro Access, where the doctor has to get pretty in depth at describing your disability and how it affects your ability to travel some of the time on bus and metro. Reduced fare is just does this person have a disability and what is it? That's really all the application asks for. We are able to help process these applications to then send them into Metro. Metro does get the final say, but we are able to send these applications into Metro for their review. And if it's approved, they generally will just mail the card to the address you put on your application. Like Metro Access, they do have an expiration date. Reduced fare is always 5 years. The ENDependence Center does assist people in applying for reduced fare, as well as Metro Access, but reduced fare is something we can do most of the legwork for you after you've gotten the application filled out by yourself and the doctor. There is also a 65 plus program for anybody who is in that age, and that can be anybody who is 65. This is the same function as a disability reduced fare card, but you'll notice there's no expiration date. And I always say, unfortunately, we aren't getting younger. So, you're always eligible for it once you hit the age of 65. And again, this is a half price Metro card like the reduced fare card. So other ways to sign up. Currently, ECNV also gets DARS funding to do travel training, and Medicaid waiver funding can also be eligible. Primarily, we do use our funding through our partners at Metro to do this. But we do have different avenues, and we do work closely for Virginia residents. We do work very closely with DARS counselors on travel training goals. So if you signed up for travel training, or if a loved one signed up for travel training, here's kind of just what it might look like. The first step is you would have an intake with somebody at ECNV. This can be done in a hybrid situation. It can be done remotely. We prefer to actually come to you if that's something you are okay with, because it lets us also kind of check out the area where you live, see what the traffic's like, see what the crossings are like, see where the closest bus stop based on your goals that you're going to be using is located. So it gives us the opportunity while we're out doing the intake to also check out your neighborhood and just see like where, do we have any challenges with accessing the closest bus or metro station? We would set goals during this process, and these goals are not set in stone. We have definitely started with a goal to go to one place, and we found that maybe it is working, or maybe the person kind of already knew how to do it, so maybe we might adapt that goal into something a bit more complicated, or even scale it back, just depending on different factors that may come up. And that's always done based on discussion between myself and the consumer, myself and the family. It just depends on what the situation is. So some of the things we learn is how to plan your trip. We learn about the accessibility features if we need to go over those, like how do you board with a wheelchair, a scooter, or even a bicycle. A lot of people who have told me that they're comfortable riding their bike to a bus stop. It's like, well, what if I wanted to bring the bike with me? And a lot of people are interested to learn. You can put a bike on you can put a bike on the bus. I apologize. It's Saturday morning. So we do go over those skills and how to do all of that. And as I mentioned earlier, it's very individualized. We also go over how to use the devices that you have available to you to plan the trip. So sometimes we might use your smartphone or your computer to plan the trips because I want you to use what's available to you. And if that means we have to go and get paper schedules, we can do that too. Um, so some of the other skills we go over is just what options are available to you based on where you live and where you're starting your trip from. We do go over how to read maps and schedules. And, I've got an example of a Loudoun County timetable out here. We go over how to plan the trip. We do also have people buy and use fare cards. Now, this is one of the few things that travel training is, I would say, 99% free of cost. However, one of the things that might cost the consumer a little bit of money is I like to have consumers put their own money on their own fare card. So what that might mean is if you use a reduced fare card, and you don't know how to put money on it, we might do a lesson where we go to the metro and we have the consumer puts their own dollar on their own fare card just to go through the process of how to use it. And we like to do that with their card so you know how it works. We also go over how to identify the appropriate bus, as well as just how to properly get on, get off, what the etiquette is on the bus, what the rules are on the bus. We go over all of that. In terms of trip planning, I always recommend people use wamada.com as a starting place for planning their trip. Google Maps works pretty well, but sometimes their bus routes are out of date. Sometimes their timetables are out of date. I've learned lately if you use Google Maps, you have to cross-reference it with the actual bus schedule because some of their times are frankly wrong. And this is accurate. Wamada.com it's also the easiest to use and it's browser based. So as long as you can access a browser on your phone, you can use this. There's no app. I know some people like the transit app and there's pros and cons. I found that the best one in my opinion now is actually wamada.com. I used to say Google Maps, but lately there's just been too many inaccuracies in their bus timetables for it to be reliable. It's great for trip plotting to see what's possible, but wamada.com is if you need to plan a trip and you need to plan a trip quickly, that's probably the best place to start. So to plan a trip, you would enter information like where you're starting from, where you're going, what time you want to leave, and how you want to travel. Ideally, you want to say both, but maybe you're not comfortable on the train or going through the tunnels. You can plan a bus only trip. Now, I will preface that that may take a really long time compared to using the bus and metro as a system together. You can program what time you want to leave. You can also tell it you want to depart at a certain, or you can also tell it you want to arrive. Let's say you have an interview at 3 o'clock at a certain place. You can tell it you want to arrive by like 2:45 so that you've got enough time to get where you're going. You can tell it what date, and generally it defaults to like you want to leave right now. How do I get there? But you can tell it the date and time because maybe the day you want to do this is on a Saturday. And as we may or may not know, some of the buses and metro or some of the buses may not run as often on a Saturday, if at all. Sometimes there's no weekend service with some bus routes. So that's information you can also plot into this in order to go over that. So this is just an example of what an itinerary might look like. Unfortunately, I think our screen capture got a little messed up here, but I will do my best to describe what is going on. So this would give you directions as to where to go. So it would tell you to get from Metro Center, and I think it was Capitol Hill. Okay. Yeah, so you would tell you to get on the blue line at Metro Center and you would ride to Metro Center Station. It does actually give you walking directions. I know you can't see it here, but if you clicked on this, it would actually describe in detail where to walk. And you can print that out or have it available on your phone in order to see where exactly to go. And I know it's kind of cut off here, but it also tells you what the standard cost and the reduced fare cost would be for that trip. So it's telling you that this is $2. This is probably, this might be incorrect soon, but the standard fare to get on Metro is $2 on the weekend. or I think it also starts at $2. So some of the travel skills that you may learn doing travel training is how to cross the street. And that's something that we've worked very closely with the Arkin in the past, which Ashley will talk about. We go over some of the safety skills and what to do to be safe while you're traveling. We're talking about not just your physical safety, but your social safety as well. We go over like, how to not, how to maybe not be the center of attention on the bus unless you need to be for like an emergency. We go over some of the different unexpected situations or problems. And trust me, I've heard a lot of stuff. And, I wish we could go over every possible contingency of what could happen on the bus and metro, but sometimes we just can't. But we do go over some of the big emergencies. We know that sometimes Metro has made the news for not great reasons in terms of bad things happening. And we do kind of go over like, okay, let's troubleshoot that scenario. What would we do? And we try to kind of put ourselves in those shoes and say, okay, what do you do in the event of XYZ? And we're happy to troubleshoot any scenario. I've heard everything. So we're always happy to go over those situations. And we work with people until they are confident and proficient in their travel skills. So for folks that sign up for travel training, they do have some responsibilities. The responsibilities that we have is being present at the appointments that we set. And I send out a million reminders. And part of the purpose of those reminders is if you realize that you had a dentist appointment that conflicts, tell me as soon as possible. So that's just kind of what we ask for is, like any appointment, the courtesy of knowing that, hey, maybe a scheduling conflict comes up. And we realize sometimes life happens and you get sick, and we understand that, but we just ask for, when you have to reschedule that you do. You're also responsible for being able to be communicated with. So that might be through a parent, that might be directly. We just ask that you have a phone, an email, something that is a reliable way of being communicated with in case stuff comes up. Sometimes we get really bad ice weather in our area and we just have to make do with that and reschedule. We also ask that people keep practicing, that you put these skills at least to your maximum comfort level. You put these skills to the test. So currently we have 3 travel trainers. We are actually about to triple in size, but currently we have myself, Hunter Cardwell, and Margarita. And I want to bring up that Margarita is English Spanish bilingual, so we do offer the service in Spanish. And hopefully we will very soon be bringing on some additional languages for travel training as well. And we are happy to work with people who are ASL or who speak other languages. We are happy to work with interpreters or other systems as well. So how to sign up for travel training? You can contact ECNV directly at the phone number. You can send me or Hunter an email. Travel training is free. We cover the cost during your training, except for the aforementioned circumstance where I want the trainee to learn to put money on their card, where we are going to use their money to put on their card. But when the trip is actually being taken and they're paying fare, you're going to use a card I'm going to lend you that you'll give back to me at the end of the session. So you're not going to be paying fare to do travel training. We do arrange the initial meeting ideally at home, but we can also do it at our office. We can do it at a place nearby your house that you're comfortable, like a library or a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks. I've certainly met people out in the community who maybe for a myriad of reasons don't want to meet at home, and that is 100% okay. So we just want you to feel comfortable during the initial intake and assessment. So we do have other services at the ENDependence Center that I just wanted to very briefly go through. These are mostly for Northern Virginia because a lot of these are tied to DARS funding. So we have Thrive Solo, which is a 2-week in-person crash course on independent living skills. It is offered quarterly. We have an 8-week course on being a better self-advocate. So this is for transition age students, so students who are aging out of high school or who still have an IEP. This is an 8-week crash course on how to be a self-advocate for yourself and identify your needs and who are allies and subjects such as that. We have a Money 101 course called Money Matters. This one is also requires a DARS referral, and it is offered quarterly. We have a durable medical equipment program for people who may need durable medical equipment. This is a volunteer-run program at ECNV, and we get items that are donated to us that are in good condition, good and working condition from the community, and we do our best to donate them back out. And we have the Ready to Achieve mentoring program, which is a career-focused mentoring program for youth with disabilities. This one is a little bit more nuanced, but it has a referral that is required from either the Fairfax or Alexandria DARS office. And to sign up or to have if you have any questions about these programs, you can email info@ECNV or call our main number, which is also on our website, www.ecnv.org. This is our general contact information, which Ashley will probably share via email at the afterwards. And I am done with my lecturing at you all. Thank you all for bearing with me. And I know Ashley's got a brief presentation, and then we have time for questions.
Yeah, Andrew, that was great. So I just wanted to take a couple minutes just to talk about my program and then our partnership that we have with ARC of Northern Virginia with Andrew and his team. And then I have a bunch of questions that people have been asking either in the chat or questions and answers. So Andrew, I'll ask those at the end. So I will go ahead and share my screen. Let me stop sharing real quick and share with volume. Interesting. It won't let me share with sound. All right. All right. Well, my name is Ashley Africa. I'm on the Tech for Independent Living team at the ARC of Northern Virginia. And we created an app, and our team helps create free virtual lessons that can guide people through life's daily routines and challenges. Again, our program and our app is also free to those who live in the Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland area. In the next month or two, we are actually expanding to out of our area, where if you do not live in this grant area right now that we have, people will be able to purchase the app and be able to use it. These are some of our partners that we have who currently are using our app. So we're in Fairfax County, Alexandria Schools, Falls Church, Arlington. We work with other ARCs around the area, other organizations, CSBs, and businesses and families as well. So within our app, we have 4 categories: daily living, employment, safety, and transportation or traveling. You know, if you're going to be traveling anywhere and you're travel training independently, you're probably going to work, or before you're traveling, you need to make sure that you're getting through your morning routine or doing laundry to get things ready to go somewhere. So it's kind of a full circle that you can use the app to become independent. So we have 2 lesson options. Our first one is a generalized lesson catalog. So we have hundreds and hundreds of lessons that have already been created and that anyone can access at any time. So if we're talking about travel training and public transportation, so crossing the street safely, what is bus safety, pedestrian safety, metro safety, how to use a MODA trip planner step by step if you were trying to plan a trip. What does it look like to ride a metro? What does it look like to ride a bus? And then we have customized lessons. So if an individual needs specific assistance on a skill. So for example, if someone was travel training, we can help take pictures and map out their route from the moment they leave their door to the moment they get to their destination. And so they can review this before they take the trip. Or if they're taking the trip, they can quickly look at, oh, what was that bus number that I had to take again? Has specific pictures, has specific numbers. And again, that customization aspect on that. What's really cool about the app is that we can personalize it with, again, personal pictures, custom audio and video. So we can have that screen reader on there, but if someone would also like to record their voice to put it in there for it to be more reinforcing. So if they love that Andrew's travel training them, you know, Andrew could record giving instructions and then he could be in the app and the individual could hear him also giving the instructions. This is a video that I have that I'm going to email out to you guys. It kind of reviews travel training and someone using the app traveling within the Northern Virginia area. And then this is kind of the username view. So when an individual becomes a user, The lessons are listed under each category. They only see what's assigned to them. Again, we have hundreds of lessons, we have hundreds of customized lessons, but because of that, only what an individual would need, would like to see is what we will assign to them. Again, hundreds of lessons ready to go per category. And we can also provide devices. So we know that not everybody has a phone or a tablet or a computer ready to use. So we can provide an 8-inch or 10-inch tablets for individuals to use and to review their lesson. Now, if they do have a phone, we suggest them using that already or their iPad, because then it's just another device for them to carry. But our app is available in the Google Play Store, Apple Store, and we have a browser version as well, because a lot of our schools use it on their Chromebooks. We host monthly Metro trips in partnership with ECNV and Andrew. And every month, for once a month, individuals are welcome to join us on a travel trip through the Metro. From the moment you get to the station, again, like Andrew discussed, fares and passes machine, learning how to read a map, getting through the gate, talking about safety and safety on the platform, safety on the train. It's almost like a full round trip. Usually we go somewhere. So on the last trip, we took a group of people to from Ashburn to Tyson's Mall and back. And so they try to make it a round trip experience, because when you are riding or you are traveling, you're going somewhere. So, they make it a full trip experience of getting somewhere and then making your way back. We also host quarterly bus trips, kind of the same idea, except you're riding the bus. The last one, we took people from the Ashburn Metro Station and they used the public transit in Loudoun, and we went to One Loudoun. So they learned about bus safety and reading the map, waiting for the bus and how to stop the bus or let the bus know that it's your stop. And again, for both of these trips, we can provide the smart trip cards for the individuals who'd like to join. Just two more things. So every fourth Tuesday of each month, I host a group called TFIL Talks. Anybody is welcome to join. I go over one lesson per month from our app, and then it becomes kind of a social discussion, and individuals talk with each other. We give each other advice. My last one was all about workplace professionalism, and then this month for April, I'm talking everything about money, which is such a hot topic with everybody. And so it's a really great time. And every month, we're just growing as a group, and individuals kind of get excited to see each other for the next month. If you are interested in my program or anything else about the app, you can reach out to us at techforindependence@thearcofnova.com. We will schedule an intake and we'll send a registration. And the intake is just to get to know the individual user, how they learn, what they want to learn, what are some skills that they want to work on, and kind of discuss how to get started. So this is an option, and I wanted to talk about this because if you would like to travel train with Andrew, we are here as a support and can provide a tool or resource that the individual can use to help review before their trip or go over any safety rules to help with that anxiety potentially, if they are going out. And so I will stop sharing my screen. And again, all the information you see today, I will send out to everybody at the end. All right, Andrew, I saw that you answered Dee's question about Richmond. Let's see, I had another question. Somebody asked, they said, I was wondering if you have any other ride services opportunities besides Metro Access. I've had issues with Metro Access when I've used it several years ago.
I can take that. So Metro Access is, for better or worse, it is the primary service that people use with disabilities to get around, but it's not the only service. Metro Access is also probably the most consumer cost conscious service, I would say. And what I mean by that is from the consumer's end, I think it's $4 one way for your trip. Now it does have all the bells, whistles, and obligations that you have to do to, not only apply for the service but also use it. Like you can't, you can't decide you can't decide this morning you want to go see a movie 2 hours from now. So that trip would have had to have been booked 2 hours in advance. So it does require ahead planning. Depending on your circumstances and where you live, there are sometimes, like Arlington County has a system similar to Metro Access called STAR, for example. That is a system where they actually rely on Metro Access for eligibility, but it is its own service that is complementary to Metro Access. There's also Uber and Lyft, but those, I mentioned the cost consciousness of Metro Access. Uber and Lyft is going to, we've probably all seen the cost at one point or another. We're talking maybe $20 for one trip, whereas Metro Access caps out $4 one direction, and you could go from like Fairfax City to DC, and it's going to cost you $4. But you have to go through the motions of taking your trip a day in advance, or planning your trip a day in advance. I'm sorry, and you might be in a shared ride experience. So I will also say, so different counties, depending on where you live, have different systems that work within theirs. I'm trying to think if there is, a lot of it is very location specific, but there are in some cases alternatives to Metro Access that serve people with disabilities. Bus and Metro is also an alternative for some people as well, but you might need some travel training to learn to do that. So if you want to reach out to us, I believe Ashley will provide my email to everybody, and we can kind of explore what options. But without knowing, and I don't want to get into anybody's super specific situation here, but without knowing necessarily where you live, I can kind of provide some broad examples such as Arlington Star. Okay, it says the person does not have a mic. Okay. Ashley, you're on mute. Ashley, you're talking, but you're on mute.
Sorry, everybody. If you guys have a question, you guys can type it in the chat or the Q&A, and we can ask out loud. Somebody had said they had questions regarding international travel. They meant at the airport, difficulty with communicating during the flight crew, needing skills to begin, and they had questions about international flight. Something that I would say is at the Arc of Northern Virginia, we host an event called Wings for All. We did in the fall, and we're going to host it again this fall, where individuals can come to Reagan Airport, is who we partner with, and they have a plane and a flight crew. And so when that registration comes out, and if you sign up, individuals can come to the airport, you bring a luggage, you practice checking in, you get a boarding pass, you practice going through TSA, finding your gate. You actually get to board the plane. The plane rides around on the runway for a little bit and then comes back, and then they go, like, someone is taking you guided through everything, kind of on a tour, explaining everything. We are also doing a webinar soon. We're in the works talking to United Airlines and DCA, but we're doing a webinar called Air Travel Resource Webinar. That should be coming up in the next couple months, but it's going to be a panel of flight attendants and captains and TSA employees and airline employees reviewing everything that an individual would need to know when riding a flight or going through the airport. And then it gives a chance for people to ask questions as well. If you guys want to look out for that at the Arc of Northern Virginia events, as soon as we have a date, we will be announcing it. Let's see. And then you answered someone's question about the Richmond. Does anybody else have any questions?
I will just kind of follow up on the Richmond question more as a just general statement. So centers of independent living, like the Independence Center, are across the country. So I'm happy to, if you don't live within Northern Virginia, to tell you what center of independent living represents your area. So I just wanted to put that out there, that there's 400, and I don't know the number, but it's over 400 centers of independent living. New ones are opening annually as well in different areas across the United States. So we're happy to help you identify what your center of independent living is if you don't live in Northern Virginia. If you live in Northern Virginia, it's us.
I have a question that I think some people might be thinking about, but may not be answering it. Once you start travel training with an individual, how long will you guys travel train with them or kind of help them usually?
That is a great question. So it's really up to you. Now, I can't be too open-ended and say, I can work with you every single day for a year. Like that is obviously something you can't do, but we do want to work with you till you are confident. Sometimes people want a really quick orientation to the bus and metro, and we are what I would call one and done. And what I mean by that is the person, we give them a primer on how to use the bus and metro. We will usually be the ones to offer, hey, do you want to try this again? Do you want to practice? And sometimes people will tell us, I think I've got it, I'm going to do it. And that's fine. Sometimes we have people who maybe they're learning to get to a job and they really need that routine of practice and practice and practice. And we try to do it as often as we can, with the resources and time that we can give you. So I try to make it where we're going to accomplish your goal as long as you, two things. One, you're continuously making progress, even if that progress is incremental. But two, you and your stakeholders have to also be like willing to continue. Sometimes we understand that some people can get frustrated with the process, and we will certainly encourage you to keep going. But I mean, sometimes we need to take a break and maybe come back later, and that's okay.
Great. Any other questions that anybody has? I have the chat open. Somebody asked about this recording. So once this is done downloading to my computer, I will send it off and get one of my employees to upload it to YouTube. And then I will make sure that this link also gets sent to you guys once it's uploaded so that you guys can rewatch it as well. All right. Doesn't look like we have any more questions.
And if you have any questions that you maybe don't want to ask in chat, I know you're going to share my email, Ashley, but you all are free to email me and ask me questions on a more one-on-one basis. You can call me. I will say text or email to schedule a time to call me is generally you will have more success getting a hold of me if you text or email first, and we can schedule a time to talk. I will just give you all that little tidbit. But you might get lucky if you call and catch me. You never know.
So I have questions. So the app is called Arc to Independence. You may or may not be able to find it in the App Store. We've kind of tried to hide it only because we've had people from far away try to access it and they're not able to. If you are able to download the app, awesome. You just can't access it until you do an intake with us on my team so that we can create and provide you with a login info. So if you download it, it's just a login screen, but reach out to us and we'll definitely get you started if it's something you're interested in. All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for taking their time on this wonderful Saturday morning to join us. Andrew and his team, they are amazing to work with. And I hope that everyone takes advantage of learning how to travel independently within our community. We have plenty of resources here that can be used. So all together, we can work together to make that happen. Thank you, everybody, again, and I hope everyone has a great day.